Yosemite National Park is a place where silence carries the color of antiquity, and beauty is so rugged it takes your breath away. Most visitors come to admire the towering granite peaks, but for Sarah, a park ranger who has spent over 10 years traversing these trails, she knows that Yosemite's true secrets often hide in the dark corners of the great wilderness. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, while driving her patrol truck along a remote trail beneath El Capitan, Sarah suddenly noticed a flash of tawny fur in her rearview mirror. It wasn't a deer. A mountain lion cub, the creature known as the Ghost of the Sierras, was fearlessly chasing her vehicle. For 2 long miles, the small creature kept pace, its golden eyes locked onto the truck with a strange intensity. It didn't feel like a hunt. It felt like a plea. When Sarah finally decided to stop, the air around her grew thick with tension. The puma didn't flee. Instead, it let out a high-pitched cry, a sound usually reserved only for communicating with its mother. In that moment, Sarah understood this was no random encounter. She was facing a messenger, and her heart told her she was about to be led into a story of survival that would forever change how she viewed the wild. Following a mountain lion into the thick brush went against every safety protocol Sarah had ever been trained to follow. Pumas are masters of camouflage, apex predators with the strength to take down prey many times their own weight. Yet, Sarah felt an invisible thread of trust pulling her forward. The cub ran a few meters ahead, occasionally stopping and glancing back to ensure she was still following. It led her deep into a steep ravine, far from the tourist-trodden paths, where the canopy of ancient pines was so dense that sunlight struggled to reach the carpet of decaying leaves below. When they reached a moss-covered rocky outcrop, the cub stopped and emitted a mournful whimper. There, tucked away under a rotting cedar log, lay an adult female puma. Even in her stillness, she exuded a magnificent majesty, but as Sarah drew closer, she noticed the labored breathing. A deep wound on her hind leg, likely the result of a fierce territorial dispute or an unfortunate fall from a sharp cliff, had begun to fester. The mother lion was too weak to stand, her fierce maternal instinct now clouded by a high fever. Normally, a mother puma would charge any stranger daring to approach her cub. But here, in the stillness of the canyon, a strange truce had been established. The lioness lifted her head, her weary eyes meeting Sarah's gaze. There was no snarl, no bared fangs, only a profound resignation and a look of supplication. It was a moment of pure intersection between 2 different species. Sarah realized the cub hadn't just found a human, it had found hope. Sarah moved with extreme deliberation,
girl.
keeping her
Help is
voice
coming.
low and steady. "It's okay, girl. Help is coming." She sat on a nearby log, maintaining a respectful distance while radioing the Yosemite Wildlife Rescue Team. During the hour-long wait, the vastness of the national park suddenly felt small, intimate, and extraordinarily warm. The barrier between human and beast vanished, replaced by a simple scene: a family in distress and a guardian listening. She watched the cub nuzzle into its mother's fur, whispering words of comfort that, perhaps, in the depths of their wild souls, they both understood. The rescue was a delicate dance between medical expertise and compassion. In less than an hour, the specialist team arrived. They didn't come with blaring sirens or noisy commotion. They arrived with efficient silence. Dr. Miller, the park's chief veterinarian, was astonished by the scene. He had never seen a puma cub remain so calm while humans intervened in its territory. To ensure the treatment was safe and painless, the team decided to administer a mild sedative to the mother. Under the pale yellow glow of lanterns as dusk began to fall, the medical team went to work. They meticulously cleaned the infected wound and injected potent antibiotics. "She's a true warrior," Miller whispered as he stitched the torn muscle. The cub never left. It lingered at the edge of the workspace, its small ears pricked, watching every movement from behind a manzanita bush. After a thorough examination, Dr. Miller decided that transporting the mother to the center was the only way to save her. The infection had moved into her bloodstream, and the chilling night air of the canyon would not be a suitable environment for recovery. Using a specialized stretcher, they carefully lifted the 130-pound predator. The cub silently followed the stretcher all the way to the transport vehicle. In
We
a
have to move
decision
the
that
cub now,
surprised
Doctor.
even
Get
the
it in the
seasoned
truck.
biologists, Sarah
Sarah,
suggested bringing the
I
cub
don't have the
along.
right equipment up.
Separating them now could cause immense psychological shock for both, and stress is the #1 enemy of recovery. As the truck doors closed, the forest returned to its natural silence, but the rescue mission was only halfway through. At the Yosemite Wildlife Health Center, the next 48 hours were critical. Sarah stayed well past her shift, quietly observing through a specialized glass pane. She watched the mother lion slowly wake up in a room lined with soft straw, her eyes searching frantically. Only when she saw her little one curled up in the corner of the enclosure did her body truly relax. It was a reminder that even for the proudest predators, the presence of family is the most miraculous medicine. The entire team, from rangers to volunteers, worked in a rhythmic, quiet coordination, proving that our role in nature is most powerful when we act with our hearts. Recovery was a slow process, especially for a creature born to belong to the vertical world of the Sierras. In the following weeks, the Ghost of Yosemite and her cub became the heartbeat of the rescue center. Sarah visited them every morning before starting her patrol. She didn't try to pet or tame them. She understood that the greatest respect for a wild animal is to allow it to remain wild. She often just sat quietly outside the protective mesh, reading patrol reports aloud in a low, steady voice. The mother lion began to associate Sarah's voice with safety and nourishment. We often think of mountain lions as solitary, cold-blooded killers, but the surveillance footage from the center told a different story. The images showed the mother grooming her cub with meticulous tenderness, or the cub pouncing on its mother's tail to entice her to play, a clear sign that its strength was returning. They were a closed circle of love. Instead of glaring with the threatening eyes of the early days, the mother lion would now often lounge comfortably when Sarah appeared, her deep golden eyes watching her like an old friend. The story of the Puma pair began to spread among the park staff. In a world often filled with news of habitat loss and conflict, this was a beacon of hope. It reminded everyone that we share this valley with sentient, emotional beings who know fear and relief just as humans do. The solutions we provide aren't always high-tech gadgets or scientific theories. Sometimes, the solution is simply recognizing a cry for help and having the courage to show up. By the end of the first month, the mother was able to leap onto high platforms in the enclosure, her muscles rippling beneath a sleek, healthy coat. The veterinary team declared her ready to return. But one question lingered. Would she remember her home after so many days in captivity? And more importantly, would she remember the humans who saved her life? Sarah knew the goal of wildlife rescue is for humans to remain strangers to the animals, but the bond formed in that dark canyon was something beyond standard definitions. It was a bridge built on mutual respect, a testament that compassion needs no language to be understood. The day they released the pumas back into the wild was a crisp early morning, the air carrying the scent of the season's first coming snow. The rescue team decided to return them to the exact spot near the foot of El Capitan where Sarah had first seen the cubs play. As the transport vehicle stopped at the edge of the old ravine, a sense of breathless anticipation hung over everyone. No one spoke, for they knew this moment of parting was both the ultimate goal and an indescribable sorrow. When the large doors of the transport crate were opened, there was a moment of hesitation that lasted several seconds. The cold wind from the wilderness rushed in, bringing the scent of pine needles, earth, and the flavor of freedom. The mother lion stepped out first, her gait now fluid and powerful, like a queen returning to her throne. She took a deep breath, her nostrils flaring as if to reclaim all the signals of her homeland. The cub gambled after her, quickly merging into the familiar shadows of the ancient forest. But before disappearing completely into the brush, the mother lion suddenly stopped. She turned her head, looking directly at Sarah, who stood at a safe distance behind. The exhaustion was gone, the resignation replaced by golden eyes glowing with a fierce, proud wildness. It was a final look of understanding, a wordless thank you from the natural world to the benefactor who had saved her life. In the blink of an eye, with a sharp flick of her long tail, she and her cub vanished into the thicket, returning to their lives as the ghosts of the Sierra. Sarah stood still for a long time, feeling a burst of happiness radiating through her chest. This story was not merely a medical rescue. It was proof that trust can be built when we learn to listen. Amidst the vastness of Yosemite, two lives that were never meant to cross met, and for a brief moment, the boundary between human and wild animal vanished entirely. If this story touches your heart, remember that we are all connected in the great web of life. Every creature has its own voice. The question is whether we are quiet enough to listen. Thank you for walking this compassionate journey with Sarah. The world becomes a little more beautiful when we know how to care for and protect one another, regardless of which species we belong to. Hold on to that faith, and we shall meet again in the next story of miraculous connection.